The dispute of lands is always chaotic, but 17-0 Denmark's heath gives you goosebumps when a mediocre soldier challenges the 100 years of unsuccessful efforts to cultivate the land. The chilling adventure of exploring the fertilized land starts when Captain Call lands on the heath and digs up every corner to see from where it can be brought back to life. The king's dynasty considered him crazy for trying on a very hopeless land, but the hopes are high, which can't stop him even in the storms. He doesn't let these doubts overpower him and keeps on building a livelihood here. Hence, a couple of escaped tenants ask for a job, and he agrees to keep them from the eyes of De Schinkel of howled dogs. He builds the house and keeps some animals to live by, but the outlaws keep on robbing them of their resources. However, he has been invited to dinner by the De Schinkel, who is the county judge and the owner of multiple farms. Captain Call's mother was his maid, and now he is capable of challenging her masters, which seems insulting. De Schinkel threatens to sign a contract with him, which includes letting his tenants and farmers live and earn on the land if it is ever cultivated. Hence, Captain Call has been working on the land on the king's orders, but he refuses to accept the offer. The De Schinkel's fiancée likes Captain Call and supports him to stand against him and reject the offer because this is the first time someone has said no to him. She invites him to a farmer's festival 1 month later. Captain Call's extreme cultivation desires lead him to do the worst when De Schinkel threatens his employees to work on the heath. He is barehanded with this acre of land and no labor because no one dares to stand against the De Schinkel. Hence, he devised a plan to confiscate the little thief from the outlaws who come here every night. She is tied, and they ask for their camps. He rides to them and asks for a determined night to work on the heathland. They burn the fire and farm the land with the utmost dedication and greed to get the money. The little thief, who is never loved by the clan, offers Captain Call to be a part of the clan and adopt her, but he refuses and pays the outlaws for working on the land. Also, the tenant leaves for the sea for work, and his wife farewells. The festival has come, and he is compelled to join because the businessmen and all wealthy people are coming tonight. De Schinkel insults him with the wig and taunts him for being mediocre. Hence, his fiancée calls him to the side and indirectly proposes to marry her until winter because she has been instructed to find good in De Schinkel or present with an alternative. She likes Captain Call, offers to marry her, and asks for it with a kiss. He is confused because he never had any conversation with a woman. They are back at the festival, where they are amused to see the confiscated tenant who left for work 2 days ago. He has been tortured with hot boiling water several times until he is dead. Captain Call is forbidden to interfere because it can prove him guilty. He can be punished for accepting that he offers help to De Schinkel's escaped tenants. They take him back on the horse, and he still rejects the offer of De Schinkel once again, knowing that he can do worse. The outlaws get to know about the death, and they leave the heath because they don't want the same for themselves. Now, he is all alone on the land with the dead tenant's wife and no money. He is obliged to grow the land until spring, otherwise, he would be expelled from the land. He can do the work alone, but it still takes time to green the barren land. In addition, the household gets enraged and decides to leave the place because the fool De Schinkel can kill Captain Call for keeping her. However, he compels her to keep the house, but she leaves for not too long. She is back because she hates De Schinkel for harassing her and wants to make him lose the bet. In the meantime, the little thief from the outlaws runs back to him because she doesn't want to get sold. Captain Call doesn't have another member because they have no food, but her persistence lets him consider. She is a part of the family now, and they intend to cultivate potatoes on the land. The hard work begins, and they are doing their best, but it's not enough. They have limited food, and the little girl can't bear the cold out there. The hailstorm ruined their efforts, and the household suggested eating the potatoes, but he strictly rebelled. He gets the potato shipment from Germany and can't let the last hope of cultivation be wasted as food. But the condition is getting worse. Also, De Schinkel knows about his potatoes and intends to steal them. However, he visits him with the leftovers of the dinner and mocks his empty visions of cultivating the land. He offers him money to leave the land and target some other health. Also, he demands to ensure that the land in the king's chamber belongs to him. Captain Call takes the money and food, thinking that it might save the little girl from dying. But the rage against this foolish rebel compels him to answer it. He sends the food and the filthiest money back to him with a big rejection of his offer. He has no option but to sacrifice the last goat for the little girl's health, but she used to love it. The household tries every means to keep her warm and settle herself in Captain Call's blanket. They have successfully cultivated the potatoes. Hence, one night, he notices the frost in the air and rushes to keep the land warm with blankets. However, it is of no help because the thunderstorm worsens the situation, leading him to deep despair and hopelessness. He screams with pain and sleeps in the arms of his beloved land, waiting for a miracle. The next day's shiny, bright sunrays bring a joy of hope when they witness a small bush flattering with the hasty breeze of chills and cold. It is a huge success in the 5 decades, and he sends the king 80 sacks of potatoes. The potatoes are fresh and healthy, so the king rewards them with a better house, animals, and better cultivating resources. He has proved himself in the king's community, and everyone is impressed to see his efforts bearing fruit. He has become a royal surveyor of the king. He also teaches the little girl all about harvesting and care animals. He treats her like his child. The outlaw community is back and asks for a place to live. He welcomes them as the first residents of the Danish dynasty on this barren but green land and allows them to build houses. They find the abandoned little girl with the caul and ask him to throw her out because she is bad luck. They don't want her near them, but Captain Caul promises them to keep her inside. He also consoles her for being an asset who always brings good luck. Though this news is not good for everyone, De Schinkel is in extreme rage and gets to know about his fiancée's disloyalty. He throws a maid out of the window, suspecting she has been betraying him for a long time. He is brutal and cold towards her fiancée as well. Since Captain Caul is the king's surveyor of the king, he can't raise a brow at him. He is obliged to make peace with him, but his rage leads him to do the worst. He injured his beloved horse and even killed 2 outlaws from the community. The hungry wild wolves have been called by inducing the blood of the community's animals. Everything has been done with great care, i.e., eradicating all proofs. Since Captain Caul knows who's at fault, he rides in to threaten him. He forbids him to hurt the civilians anymore, but he is persistent. The fiancé walks in and reveals about the killers and where they are hiding, betraying his so-called fiancé as she loves Captain Caul. The house help is jealous of the fiancé, but she has no choice. Hence, the captain asks his community for help, but they are persistent in throwing the little girl away because she is thought to be bad luck. She's like the black cat who brings black omens. Captain agrees to send her away, but the house help resists. She has developed an emotional connection with the little girl and wants her to be with them always. However, the captain has no choice because he wants to keep the community and build the dream of his own Danish dynasty. He doesn't want to lose the chance to rule the heath and build a civilization here. He farewells the girl and sends her to an orphanage, the place where she could get food and a place to live but with continuous labor work. She is in tears but doesn't say a word. Caul is also sobbing, but he has no choice. Hence, he collects some army men and raids the De Schinkel's hiding killers. He kills all of them with knives and swords, even shooting them dead with his Victorian German army's gun. One of them survives and takes the news to De Schinkel, who is enraged to see the cowardness of the escape. He wants him to fight the mere soldier back, but the army's precision is holding them back. Captain Caul raided them with appropriate army support and left no proof. The house help leaves Caul with a heart-wrenching note. He is missing his girl but can't share his grief. However, he killed an army officer among the men of De Schinkel, which put him in hot water. His killing is questionable, and the king's team gets the chance to throw him out of the land. They have always hated him for being rebellious. De Schinkel and other majority figures ask for an agreement and decide to distribute the heath's income altogether. But Schinkel gets angry at it and leaves the meeting. He wants a significant part as he claims to own the land. However, the land never belongs to him. De Schinkel ruins the community with his power and rage, which leads to the death of Caul's best friend. He is confiscated and tortured by his followers. Luckily, the house help has been hiding in the barn of De Schinkel and finds out about the Caul's screams. He sneaks into the crew of maids with poison in the wine cup. The fiancé also helps her in luring the De Schinkel to his final destination. The fiancé finds house help back in the palace and instantly knows about her purpose here. They plan to help each other to escape the brutality of De Schinkel. She makes him drink the poison and then lets the house help to kill the murderer of her husband. She sacrifices herself for the rescue of her benefactor, Caul. She stabs and castrates him with all the brutality she has in her heart and gets imprisoned. De Schinkel's fiancé is sent back to Norway. Caul brings his little girl back out of the orphanage and spends his dreamy life on the self-built land. He apologizes for abandoning her and welcomes her to work on the farm. She is the best match for taking care of his animals. She is so happy to get him back, and they are back to their normal life where she takes care of animals and harvests potatoes. The thing that bothers them is the punishment of house help, which is not getting any leniency. Hence, she is compelled to transfer to another land a few days later. They also encourage a group of laborers who offer to fix the window panes and serve them with stones. There is a handsome young boy who is God's call for the little girl to fall in love with him. They find each other's hearts connected and spend a few days together. Finally, the boy asks for her hand in a traditional way, and Call allows him to accept the offer. She leaves Call back soaked in memories of his entire life but with the dark shadows of loneliness. Hence, he never compromised on anything, so he decided to get his life back. He dodges the house, helps transfer the carriage, and takes her with him. She is set free, and Call takes him to his dreamland on the heroic dark horse. If you like this movie, then don't forget to like and subscribe the channel.